Burns.
Here.
Chartrand.
Here.
King.
Here.
Halsey.
Here.
Lachos.
Here.
Lehman.
Here.
Morahan.
Here.
Legislator Mosier is absent. Osborne.
Here.
Dahlhoff.
Here. Please stand for the invocation and the pledge. We gather to make our decisions for our community. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is best for our community and our fellow citizens. Please pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The June 5th, 2018 minutes stand approved. Report of the Rules and Legislation Committee for Rule 6. Terry, please.
The Rules and Legislation Committee has met, and they recommend to waive the rules to act upon late resolution this evening. Need a motion?
I have a motion. John, second by Randy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I would now like to open the public hearing to solicit the views of County of Lewis citizens regarding a $200,000 consolidated funding application, CDBG application for a small business loan / grant, and up to $850,000 CDBG application for housing rehabilitation for owner and renter occupied housing units. Also for public comment regarding a proposed addition to the Lewis County ATV trail system. Said property maintained by MWF Adirondacks LLC, a Delaware limited liability company with land holdings in Lewis County, which are managed by the Mulpus Woodlands Group LLC. And with that, would anyone like privilege of the floor? Cheryl?
Alright, I'm here to give you a general overview of the Community Development Block Grant. The Community Development Block Grant is a federally funded program authorized by Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. It's administered in New York State by the Office of Community Renewal. Approximately $45 million is expected to be available for the 2018 program year for housing, economic development, public facilities, public infrastructure, and planning activities, with the principal purpose of benefiting low and moderate income persons. To meet this objective, at least 51% of the persons benefiting must be low and moderate income persons according to the HUD income limits provided in the application. 70% of the New York State CDBG funds must benefit low and moderate income persons. In Lewis County, projects that would directly benefit income eligible households could include a housing rehabilitation program, homebuyer program, a micro enterprise or other economic development program in which the beneficiaries are low and moderate income households. The small cities also provides up to $50,000 in funding for community planning. The community would need to provide a 5% cash match. So during this program year, we'd like the county to consider the submission of 2 applications. And the first one is the microenterprise, and so I'll turn that over to Brittany.
The first application, due July 27, 2018, is for $200,000 to fund a countywide microenterprise program. Businesses with 5 or fewer employees will be able to apply for a grant amount of between $5,000 and $35,000 to benefit their business project, and CDBG funds can provide up to 90% of the total project cost, with the owner providing 10% in cash equity. A minimum of 50% of the CDBG award must be awarded to startup businesses, and applicants will be selected through a formal application and review process by a grant committee. Each assisted owner must also complete an approved entrepreneurial assistance program to be eligible for the grant. Businesses who apply through the microenterprise program will be awarded based on a scoring system that will align with the goals of the Lewis County Comprehensive Plan and our targeted industries.
Okay. We're doing the tag team here. The second application is a countywide housing rehab program. This one's due sometime in September, so I don't know the maximum amount of funding. We are looking at owner-occupied and possibly renter-occupied. The program that we have right now that was authorized 2016 is nearing completion. The county had applied for, I think we ended up with $847,500. I just couldn't get that other $3,500 to work, or $2,500. We're almost completed with that program. So we'd like the county to consider a new application, but I don't have, I'm not asking you to authorize that application tonight because I don't have all of the detail. The purpose of the hearing really is to just get comments on what's available and then authorize what you can authorize at this point in time. The proposed CDBG activities are not expected to result in any displacement. For housing activities, homeowners should not encounter displacement unless the home to be renovated contains extensive lead-based paint that would require the family to be out of the home while it is being removed. For mobile home replacement, and we have done a few of those with CDBG funds, it could result in temporary relocation, but we wouldn't. The CDBG program does not allow you to permanently displace somebody during those activities. You can do a relocation, but they don't want people to be displaced, so you couldn't, if you were going to demolish a home, say with CDBG, you'd have to, and it was occupied, those people would have to be relocated. You couldn't just permanently displace them. So we're not expecting any displacement for the housing or for the microenterprise program. And this year they do require a sign-in, so I think there's a sheet circulating somewhere. Okay, I'll need to take that with me when I leave. So that's basically it. If you have questions for housing or for microenterprise, we're here to answer them.
Dick, any
Yeah,
questions?
Brittany, you said for targeted industries. What are the targeted industries?
So our intent for the grant is to align it, with the targeted industries that the Economic Development Office has established. So dairy and food processing, natural resource-based industries, and the small business cottage industry. So instead of opening it up to any, if we just have a broad general grant for any old business, that might not align with our targeted industry. We want something that's gonna bring us forward, keep
That
moving our
answers
county
it. I
forward.
just want to
Okay,
thank you.
perfect.
You also want to be competitive. I mean, that's what they really want you to focus on. They don't want you to open it up to anybody and everybody, because not all businesses are going to qualify. Because you have to be startup businesses, you have to be businesses that are going to create jobs for low and moderate income people. So a new engineering company coming into the county is not going to be something that they would want to see targeted, because they wouldn't be income eligible. So I think when you do these applications, you try and, because it's such a competition, you're trying to, they fund maybe 1 in 5 if you're lucky. So you really try and focus in on what their priorities are at the time. So.
Thank you, Cheryl and Britt. Anyone else for the privilege of the floor? Mr. Sheriff?
Good evening, Chairman. Good evening, legislators. I have a great concern after watching the news over the last few weeks of a country right to the north of us legalizing recreational use of marijuana. And I understand another state within our country here is looking to do the same thing, legalizing the recreational use of marijuana. I'm coming to the board to see that before it happens in New York State, if they would really take some serious consideration, put your heads together, find out through our county attorney what we can do, that if the governor of this state should try to legalize marijuana for recreational use, could the county pass a law that we would not recognize that or allow that in our county? to be the first in the state of New York to stand against that law if it were to come. I don't know if it can or not. What bothers me is the hypocrisy of the whole thing. We have a major, as they say, opiate epidemic now within our state. We obviously have alcohol problems too as well. We have heroin, cocaine, and now we're going to add the gateway drug to our youth to go ahead and use it at recreational use. It's bad enough now that we have underage drinking, even though there's a certain age that they're set for them to legally drink it and consume it. We have terrible car accidents because of it. Now you throw into the mix somebody driving while they're high, texting and alcohol combined too, talking on their cell phone. I can't see where our government is going to make any more money on a tax-based system from legalizing marijuana. That's where the costs are going to come from when it comes time for law enforcement, insurance companies, and liability. So I'm just coming to the legislative board to propose ahead of time and to look at it very seriously, to voice strongly your opposition, because I'm going to voice mine strongly against the governor and his people who want to try to make recreational use of marijuana legal in the state of New York. And I'm just looking for the support, and I think that we'd be doing injustice to our youthful generations up and coming in this county if we don't do something to protect them a little more so than what we have now. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff. Anyone else for privilege of the floor? If not, we'll move on to presentations of communications and notices to.
We have a letter from Craig Brennan. By means of this communication, I hereby resign from Lewis County IDA effective immediately. It has been both an honor and privilege to have had the opportunity to serve on this board. I would like to add that this board has seen great achievements in building the economic health of Lewis County. I would like to recognize the director, Eric Berkowitz. Eric created the highly successful business breakfast meetings. Eric directed the creation of the brand Naturally Lewis, obtained funding to finish the Lions Falls cleanup. Under the direction of Eric, a commercial park is in the process of getting shovel-ready status with New York State. This Lewis County IDA purchased idle property on Trinity Ave to allow for a new microbrewery to occupy. One prime example of the accomplishments of the IDA would be Johnson Lumber Company, which has nearly doubled its workforce and campus footprint. Johnson Lumber added 15 new full-time employees. In turn, they have doubled the purchase of timber, giving much needed infusion to the logging industry. In a recent conversation with the principal owner, Robert Johnson, it was said to me they should have done this much earlier because it expanded their market share beyond expectations. I was able to be part of this great organization, sharing dreams, hopes, and productive engagement with a highly qualified, diverse, and determined group of individuals that collaboratively are the IDA. Respectfully submitted, Craig Brennan. We also have the board acknowledges receipt of a resolution from the Tioga County Legislature in support of Senate Bill 8210, amending executive law in relation to the cost of maintenance and operation of county veterans service agencies. Also receipt of a resolution from the Adirondack Park Local Government Review Board in support of the Wild Forest Unit Management Plan amendments. Interim Dean of Cornell SC, Johnson College of Business, Joseph Thomas, acknowledged receipt of this board's resolution in recognition of Lewis County dairy farmers and the efforts of Cooperative Extension and their affiliates to create an agribusiness faculty position with emphasis on dairy markets and policy. And that concludes correspondence.
Thank you, Terry. Reports of county officers and departments.
County Treasurer Patricia O'Brien and Real Property Tax Director Candy Aiken have submitted an approved 2018 corrected tax roll application for Benjamin P. Nolet Jr. for property in the town of Lewis. All legislators have received copies of the Treasurer's June report and the quarterly Fed tax report. The June 26th Highway and June 22nd Solid Waste Audit reports, as well as minutes of the May 8 and June 12 Community Services Board, June 5 Soil and Water Conservation District Board of Directors, and June 20 Youth Bureau Advisory Board meetings. The Sealer of Weights and Measures, James Richmeyer, has submitted his May and June activity reports to be placed on file. And that concludes reports.
Thank you. Before we start reports of standing committees, I've had a couple comments that people in the back of the room can't hear us. So if you would use your mics when you do your reports, we would appreciate it. It's probably not necessary tonight.
Just the sheriff, he don't care.
So with that, we'll start with John, Social Services, Office for Aging, and the Youth Bureau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll start with the Youth Bureau. They held the election of officers. Libby McQuire was voted as co-chairman. This position was due to Jacob Hartle, student representative of Harrisville, who's going to be graduating this year. The annual homeless Christmas tree initiative was approved. Celebration of our senior student representatives. We recognize Mr. Allen and Mr. Hartle. Mrs. Allen, I should say, Miss Allen, who are both graduating this year. And I attended the seniors picnic, and it was fantastic. I got to call bingo, and Kelly got to call the square dancing, and no, it was very well attended, and your staff did a phenomenal job. They really did. It was great. I hope it's something they do every year now.
We had 300 in attendance.
Yeah, so there was 300 there. So, and everybody seemed to really enjoy it. The food was great. It was well organized and very good. And I have a couple motions, sir. Motion to authorize DSS Commissioner Jennifer Jones to fill a vacant full-time social service programming examiner due to resignation.
Moved by John, second by Jerry. Discussion?
So it's just a refill?
Yes. The other one resigned.
Actually need it?
Beats the heck out of me. I'm just reading the motion, sir.
Any other discussion?
Went through the committee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The committee approved it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And I have a motion to reject all bids received for the senior nutrition program for the congregate and home delivered meals, and authorize Office of the Aging Director Kelly Hecker to reissue a request for proposals.
Moved by John, second by Tom. Discussion?
Kenny, the reason that we're rejecting all and re-advertising, what's going to be different in the next re-advertising?
There was a couple companies that had expressed interest, but said that they ran out of time to put their proposal forward. Normally, that's not grounds to, take another stab at it. But the only proposal we got was a 50% increase in cost, which is not sustainable and would really put a dent in that program. So
basically, it's to try to get a lower cost and to reach more bidders. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
We talked maybe the hospital be interested. Was that something that?
I thought that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And surprisingly enough, I don't think they were.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm actually meeting with Jerry and their head of food service next
We've
week.
got some new people there, so that might not be a bad idea. But what do you think about it?
I think that is something that we can definitely look into. However, that would require doing the delivery of it in-house. As of right now, these site managers are paid out of the current contractor. That's something we would have to talk about, but I have some ideas regarding that.
So if the meal prices can be reduced significantly enough by have the hospital providing the meals, just cooking meals, then that gives us, leftover money to pay for some of the other things in-house. So
Not only that too, but an option would be to make them a contractor. So pay them like 1099, that way we're not having to pay for insurance.
Sure.
Yeah, Dick. I think the meals have been like over $12 a meal.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
It was high.
It was ridiculous.
And we need the program.
Yes, it's a very good program.
Can't get rid of it.
No.
No, we can't live without it.
That's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Randy, Taxation, Elections, Information Technology.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of quick things with regards to updating the broadband program. New towers, they hope to have active by the end of June, and I talked with Adam. He's going to meet with them next week. Our Harrisburg, Lowville up on the number 3 road to reach more customers past the hospital on 26 heading to Castellan and Barnes Corners. Some new towers that they hope to get up by this fall will be the Harrisville expansion, Lake Bonaparte, and the Lowville expansion. Their marketing campaign has started on the radio, the web, and the print for pre-sign-ups, and where they receive the most response is where they're determined to put in, the quicker response to get the programs up and running. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Randy? Thank you, Randy. Sherry, Ways and Means, Buildings and Grounds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to award the low bid of $34,615 to Cedar Crest Construction LLC of Lowville, New York for painting the old courthouse and pursuant to the bid specifications. So I'd like to make that a motion.
Motion by Jerry, second by Ron. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. And have some resolution in the packet, glad to discuss them when we get to them, and on the radio side, it's moving along, so it should be what it's looking done by the end of August. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Questions for Jerry? Thank you, Jerry. Tom?
Thank you,
Public
Mr.
Health, Community Services?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't really have anything from Public Health, but on the Community Services Board, Northern Regional Center for Independent Living held a systems advocacy meeting on June 6th. This was attended by staff and Lewis County residents, Those in attendance discussed the following concerns. At the local level, affordable housing, transportation, staff turnover at our behavioral health providers, dealing with the stigma attached to persons with mental health or substance abuse issues. At the state level, a bill is on the floor preventing discrimination on housing based of source of income. A bill is on the floor preventing changes in the medication formulary during the contract year, and that those in attendance were encouraged to reach out to their representatives. And that's pretty much my report.
Questions for Tom? Thank you, Tom. Ron, Economic Development, Planning, Forestry, and Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's just one comment on the economic development. The IDA is kind of coming, it isn't officially an impasse, but it doesn't look optimistic that they're going to be able to get the seeker changed on the park development, and so it looks like they're leaning towards pulling that out and restarting the whole thing with probably a different location. That's not official, but it's borderline. And one other thing, I just wanted to publicly thank Frank Pace. He attended a Copenhagen meeting with me and straightened them out quite a bit on their zoning laws that they thought they had that they don't. And so I think that was a good thing, and the village was very receptive and happy that he came. That's it.
Thank you, Ron. Any
Ron, you do
questions?
have one resolution.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I got it right in front of me. I have a motion. Motion to authorize Recreation, Forestry, and Parks Director Jackie Mahoney to travel to Holyoke, Massachusetts to make a presentation on the Lewis County ATV trail system at the OHV Advisory Conference and Committee meeting.
Moved by Ron, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Ron. Great Courts and Law Enforcement, Emergency Management.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple quick points on the minutes that we had it during our meeting. Ward Daly was there for codes, and he wants to establish a single fee for green energy, which would include solar, wind, cellular communication projects would be involved in it too, so that we have one fee for codes to get. And a 5 to 6 acre project for solar would end up have a fee of about $6,100. If it went by how it is today, the project probably wouldn't go because the fee would be like $30,000. So he wants to bring everybody into one fee schedule. Now to the sheriff, we've discussed SROs quite frequently during these last few meetings. There has been a request from Harrisville School District, and I believe we are going to find a way probably to fund that if they can fund their share. And we asked the undersheriff to develop a policy for SROs, the SRO position. So we have something on, and we also wanted a more intense. Where was that? No. And the sheriff wants a part-time investigator position for the drug task force, and we discussed that, and I think we're going to push that forward next meeting. He is a person that is already receiving a pension, so the cost would be minimal. It'd be a maximum of $30,000 a year is all that person can earn. So if you get a part-time investigator for that with experience of years, would be a good deal. Right? No benefits. So, and that's the end of my. Oh, I have a motion though.
Is 30,000? Is that a hard cap, or that's just
a hard cap
before it's taxable?
Sounds like a retirement cap.
It's a retirement cap.
You're on a state retirement.
You can only make 30.
It'll start to affect your final average salary again.
Yeah.
Which would assume you would want if you're a part-time worker.
Okay, and I have a motion to authorize Sheriff Carpinelli to refill a full-time dispatcher due to resignation.
Moved by Greg, second by Randy. Discussion.
Already in the budget, right?
Sure. And a motion to authorize.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Go ahead.
And a motion to authorize refilling one part-time corrections officer. Sheriff Carpinelli intends to minimize the officer's work assignments.
Moved by Greg, second by John. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Any other questions for Greg?
When you're talking about the sheriff, I'd like to thank the sheriff for sending their deputy up to the Conservation Club in Lake Bonaparte. They were very impressed with him and did a wonderful job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. Dick, hospital?
Oh, everybody's been so short. I got lots of time.
30-second rule.
I'll try to keep it short. First up, Mrs. Gail Brunert, manager of the Utilization and Case Management, was recognized, and don't ask me for this acronym, IPRO, by reducing our 30-day readmission rate at the hospital, and she was also recognized at their 34th annual membership meeting held in June at Long Island. So if you see Mrs. Brunert, congratulate her and thank her. We had a gain of $81,365 for May, compared to a budgeted of $72,422. Our year-to-date surplus is $401,187 versus a budget of $382,001. So holding our own halfway through. Overall gross patient revenue was higher than anticipated in the skilled nursing facility, outpatient, and physician office areas. It totaled $13 million for the month, and that was one of the all-time highs. Our acute and observations are continuing to climb. It was fourth highest of all time, which means we're getting a lot of people coming to the facility. OR and surgeries highest in 3 years, surgical services highest in a year and a half, ortho all-time high. Dermatology, highest all-time. Outpatient, 5th highest all-time. CHA, 3rd highest all-time. If we had a few more people in CHA, that would have been even higher. We had a fund balance policy, and by a motion by myself and Mr. Essenlauer, the board approved the new fund balance policy. I just want to read that to everybody so they know what it is. Okay, the Lewis County Hospital, General Hospital and Residential Health Care Facility to establish an adequate cash reserve to ensure against unanticipated events that could adversely affect the financial condition of the institution. This policy will ensure that the health system maintains adequate cash balances and reserves. 2, provides sufficient cash flow for daily finance needs, provide adequate reserves to offset significant financial downturns or revenue shortfalls, and provide adequate reserves for unforeseen expenditures related to emergencies. Cash reserves will comprise the following categories: restricted amounts imposed by creditors, creditors, contributors, laws and regulations of governments, committed amounts used for specific purposes pursuant to constraints imposed by the action, assigned amounts that are constrained by the intent to be used for public. The Health System Board of Managers hereby adopts the according policy. The health system will maintain an unassigned cash reserve of 2 months of operating expense. This total will be reviewed and adjusted each December after approval of the following year's budget. For this year, 2018, the unassigned cash reserve total is $13.6 million that we voted to put into a fund balance for the hospital. Further on, if for any reason the health system requires the use of the unassigned cash reserve, a request will be made to the Board of Managers Finance Committee, and if supported, will move to the full Board of Managers. Additionally, and I got to go back and find out why it isn't in what they sent me in the email, the Board of Legislators is supposed to be notified before they take a draw out of that fund balance. So I'll find out why that is, because that was discussed and agreed at that night. But what that means is the hospital is helping. We've been keeping a fund balance for the hospital. The legislators have, because you don't know what's going to happen to taxpayers. So what that means is right now they're going to keep their own for a while. They're doing well, and you can have up and down. So that was good news to me. Another good news for us. The motion was made to reimburse the County of Lewis the sum of $700,000, which represents the balance due from the 2014 pension advancement as of June 14, 2018. It was approved, so they're going to pay off that MOU. But for some of the newer members to this, it goes to show us what the power of an MOU can be, because for years the hospital was bouncing back and forth, and they were up and down, and they'd give us a little and they wouldn't give us a little. And we came up with an idea to make a written MOU, Memorandum of Understanding Agreement. Both parties signed it and worked pretty well. They kept up their part, as I remember, each month paying back, and now we're paid off. So that worked good. Mr. Kerr met with the superintendent of BOCES and the president of Jefferson Community College to discuss hosting clinical instructors for both LPN and RN programs at our facility. He's going to move forward with that, and we'll be hearing more about that in the months to come. We have an administrative summer intern. Her name is Miss Caitlin LeBrake, and she's from Beer River School. She was valedictorian of her 2015 class, and she's currently a senior at RIT in Rochester, and she's learning something about Lewis County General Hospital, and hopefully we can keep her local with the job.
That'd be nice. She's a smart girl.
Lastly, and just a heads up, my committee members that were there heard about the dialysis group. I'm going to ask Patty to speak to that a little bit more during her time, if that's okay with you, Patty? Just to explain
I think
Ryan wants to.
I can, because I actually have an update as of today. That is.
Thought you did. Okay, so when we get to that, I'll let you do that. And that ends my report. Thank you for your patience.
Questions for Dick?
Where are we at with their grant application, Dick, for all the upgrades? Is that moving forward? Or?
Yeah, we were supposed to have heard in June.
In June? Oh, then really? You're supposed to heard already?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so we should hear maybe this month we're open.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Dick. Andrea, Transportation and Solid Waste.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
from Transportation. The Burdick's Crossing Road culvert pipe is in. The paperwork is not here yet for the multimodal grant yet, but Brian Peck assured David that it would be here in the near future, and that is for $25,000. Cold mix paving is finished and hot mix will start next week. We have removed the deck on the Sears Pond Road Bridge, and beams are set and concrete has been poured. And for solid waste, the tipping fee is in place, and Brittany Davis from the IDA is going to help us improve on our recycling education in the community. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Question for Andrea. Thank you, Andrea. Moving on to county manager report, Mr. Ryan.
Budget preparation is underway. We have scheduled meetings with each of our department heads, and Patty has begun work on some of the structural issues like calculating our tax cap and getting employee benefits and raises, those figures together. So we should have a pretty good idea of where we stand, at least in the big picture, for Ways and Means next month, and then we'll be filling that in with our departmental requests, and by the time this fall rolls around, we'll have a budget for you guys to review and alter. As you can see behind you over there, JCC project is full steam ahead. We have every document available that you would want to review at this point. So if you've got any questions, any ideas, anything that you want to look at that you haven't seen or you'd like to see, all you have to do is let me know, and we can get that over to you. So the bid for phase 1 is out right now. We met with potential bidders yesterday for them to ask some questions and get to know the project a little bit, and hopefully we have many competitive bids that are bidders who are interested. I just wanted to reiterate what Randy had said about broadband. It's really important for your constituents to know that if they, if it's important for them to have broadband, they need to contact North Country Broadband and tell them that they're interested in pre-signing up for service. Because the more pre-sign-ups they get in one area, the more enticed they're going to be to go to that area. I mean, obviously the project's going to cover the whole county, but the order in which it gets covered is based on interest. So if you know anybody that's chomping at the bit for high-speed internet, tell them to call North Country Broadband and get pre-registered.
Is
What was the cost on
that
that?
website address on where do they find that website address?
They sent out mailings to a lot of areas. Maybe not everybody got them, but they've done that. It's been on the radio and the TV. They did a TV spot, but we don't have it on our website, and maybe we should. So,
Maybe Britt, you could take care of that.
I'll get with Adam and see if we can put some material on our website about that.
John had a question I was going to ask. What's the cost on that?
I forget exactly what it is. It's competitive compared to your Time Warner Cable and other things.
I was thinking like 56. Does that sound right, Adam?
Like $50. Part of the grant they had to stay under.
Had to be less than 50, right?
Right. So for their minimum offering, which is much better than most folks have, it's
$49.99, I'll bet.
They had to stay under 50.
Yeah.
Call it 50 and be. I was thinking it's right around that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then regarding the insurance issue, if we can get into that for a second. Speaking of budget, one issue that we're facing for next year is that our stop loss insurance, which is basically insurance on our insurance to make sure we don't have a single payer that costs the plan an exorbitant amount of money. We get insurance that's called stop loss insurance. Last year we paid $360,000 for our stop loss insurance. This year we're going to be paying $680,000 for our stop loss insurance. And the reason for that is that we have a single member of our plan who is getting a very expensive treatment. There's renal dialysis, end-stage renal dialysis is one of the most expensive treatments that you can have. And it's costing our plan $67,000 a month currently. So last year our stop loss carrier kind of took a bath, and this year they're looking to make up for that. So we are working with the provider that this person goes to, our local provider. It's DaVita. It's in Lewis County General Hospital, if you can believe it or not. And we're looking to see if they would come into our network and try to reduce some of those costs. But we're going to continue working on that, but it might not be likely that would happen. The good news is that our consultants at GKG have found an alternative solution that I actually was on a conference call today. That is a special insurance plan just for this type of scenario. And there is a part of the Medicare law that helps us, and I don't want to get too far into the details, but we will probably be bringing a proposal to try to fix this issue. So the more we dig in and try to understand why these healthcare costs are so expensive, the more of these types of things that we find. As we find them, we're trying to knock them out one at a time and get the cost lower and lower as much as we can. So that's where we're standing. And does that pretty well sum up the issue, Dick?
Yeah, the big thing is the person's not eligible for any Medicare, so they don't have to accept Medicare. So they can charge as a out-of-system person.
DaVita is one of only 2 private companies in the United States that do this type of work. So they really have a monopoly on it. They have no incentive to join our network. We're looking for ways that we can use the Medicare law to help us, defray those costs a little bit. So, like I said, the more we dig in, the more we find, the more we try to beat down these costs. And the good news is, budgeted year to year, last year what we budgeted and this year what we'll be looking to budget will be less for health insurance. So, we're not having these big 10% increases anymore. So, that will help us a little bit.
The only other thing I'd add is there's possibly going to be another individual that's going to have the same stuff, so there may be 2. Yeah. And there are other options, but we got to look at everything first, because we fought long and hard to bring dialysis to Lewis County. And I myself would like to keep it for the people in Lewis County. So, just a heads up, we're working, but it's going to be more to follow.
Well, there is a considerable number besides this one individual that utilize it. I think it's like 30 a month, right? So it's.
But everybody over 65 that gets Medicare is in the they have accept Medicare.
So actually, this is interesting side note, but there's only one medical condition that is explicitly spelled out in Medicare law that you are eligible for before the age of 65, and that medical condition is the end-stage renal dialysis. Okay, and you're eligible for Medicaid after 30 months of being on your private plan, but your private plan has to cover the first 30 months. So, there will come an end to this where it will go on to Medicare. It will no longer be our issue. But in the meantime, it is something that we're dealing with.
So just a heads up, as we get going with the budget, you'll hear more questions.
Well, the only thing I was trying to say is that, if we can't resolve this individual specific issue, that there are still 30 people that utilize the process.
27 right now, but yes, that 30 is the number. They come and go.
And the DaVita would not go away.
No, they won't go away. No. I just hate to send somebody out of county again because we had a hearing.
We had a very positive meeting today, and I think we'll bring some solutions once we run through the rest of the I haven't talked to Jerry at the hospital yet, so.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yep. And that's my report.
Questions from Ryan? Thank you, Ryan. Patty, treasurer report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I have the balances for the month. Special legislative contingency is $71,747.75. Regular contingency is $286,457.23. Capital data processing, $98,377.45. Capital equipment, highway portion, $158,431.24. County portion, $401,829.06. Sales tax to date, $4,735,426.93, and we are on target to meet budget. Hospital repayment, they did make a June payment, Dick, so they are at $600,000. So I'm not sure why they did make that $100,000, but they did.
Rest will be in the mail.
Internal Service Fund, we did receive the May report after the Ways and Means, so we did have a positive variance of $306,000. So our fund balance is at $3.6 million. So that's my report, unless anyone has any questions.
Dick?
Patty, I read quickly because I didn't get home until 3 o'clock this afternoon, but I read the bed tax thing. There's 10 delinquents in the bed tax. Is that what that said?
Yes, but they're probably just either zero reports, but we will be sending out new letters. And I know that one, Joan, has the one that's usually very good.
But that is high, right?
Yeah, that is high.
Okay.
That is high, yeah.
Questions for Patty? Thank you. Report of the Ways and Means Committee per Rule 7.
The Ways and Means Committee reports they've examined the claims presented for payment in the total amount of $949,319.52, and I recommend that they be audited and allowed for the amounts claimed.
Motion for that. Someone like to make a motion? Greg, second by Dick. Discussion. All in favor? Motion carried.
We'd like to close the public hearing if no one wishes to
Is there any comments for the public hearing? If not, we will at this time close the public hearing for various applications.
First resolution is auditing and allowing the claims in the amount of $949,319.52.
Moved by Randy, second by John. Discussion. All in favor?
Roll call Burns.
Trying to cut down the time.
Let's just say roll call.
Yeah.
Audit and allow the claims, calls for a roll call.
Okay, I'm here.
Thank you. Bertrand,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Causer,
Yes.
Pashos,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Mowerham,
Yes.
Andrews absent, Osborne,
Yes.
Dahlhaus.
Yes.
Resolution to appoint supervisor of buildings and grounds.
Moved by Jerry, second by Dick. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? So Greg opposed. Motion carried.
I do want to make a comment on this particular incident here. We had all that survey done for employees and their appreciation and all that. And we had a very good, positive employee that we ended up losing due to this because there is no promotion from within, because this just shows it. So if you're a hardworking individual and you try to succeed here at the county and get promoted to a supervisory level position, that came to show right there that it doesn't really happen. So that's why I voted the way I voted. I thought the person that put his application in, that worked for us, who had spent a whole year pretty much training under Frank Archer and did a fine job and did get recognized for several things that he did positively for the county, didn't really get a fair shake.
Well, I will comment on that, I fully disagree. So
Well, you
that's
can
where I'm
disagree.
gonna leave it.
Whatever.
But I think, well, no, I'm gonna finish, because I
You
think
go
there
right
was a
ahead.
lot of stuff that shouldn't have happened before that. There was a lot of promises made.
Well, could be.
And I think if we do this system the way we're supposed to, it's the most qualified position that puts an application.
Well,
So we're gonna leave it there.
well, you leave it right there, Jerry, but I'll tell you right now that the person that's coming in doesn't know these buildings like the person that we let go.
We
And you
didn't
can't
let
say-
that person go.
Well-
That person chose to resign.
That's right, because
Okay.
he was being groomed for that position, and then it'd be the same thing for you. If you got in that position, you were being groomed, and you thought you had a good chance for it, and then you got it swatted down, you'd probably leave too. I don't blame him in the least.
If that's the way you feel, that's fine.
Yeah, that's the way
But
I
I
feel.
don't feel that he was the most qualified or anywhere near.
Well, that's your
So,
opinion.
well, that's my opinion.
Mine's different.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I've said here, I gotta just say a couple of things. First off, I would hope that we are not grooming people for
That's what I was
jobs.
gonna say.
This is a civil service organization. You have to follow civil service rules, whether you like them or not. So when you follow civil service rules, you apply, you ask for RFPs and applications for employment. We interviewed 5 people that came in, and so if you had said to them when you advertised for those people, we've already groomed this one person for this job, so you don't stand a chance, why put your application in? If that isn't wrong, I don't know what the heck is. So once you interview, I selected best qualified, and I made up a set of criteria based on knowledge of skills and trades, based on number of years of supervision, based on number of millions of dollars of construction work supervised. I didn't hear anybody else come up with any kind of a matrix to pick best qualified. So I feel that I worked that maintenance. I've hired about 60, 70 people with that system. It's worked out great, and I've had a couple of duds, but I've had a lot of good ones. But I would hope that none of us sat here thinking we're gonna groom somebody for a job when you're talking civil service system, because I think we're in trouble if you do that. So I won't hold for grooming a position.
That's right.
Treat everybody fairly, and we did.
Thank you, Dick.
I'm sorry, but
I think we're ready for the next resolution.
Did you have the vote?
I believe we did.
yeah, everyone
Greg
upset.
was opposed, sorry. Yes, thank you. To appropriate funds, community services.
Moved by Andrea, second by Randy. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing application for 2018 Small Cities Community Development Block Grant.
Moved by Ron, second by Tom. Discussion.
Excuse me, you have to close the public hearing first.
We did.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that, sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing supplemental consultant agreement. Number 1, the engineering services agreement between Lewis County Highway and CNS Engineers for Jordan Falls Road Bridge.
Moved by Jerry, second by Ron. Discussion. In favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Transportation Department.
Moved by Ron, second by Andrea. Discussion. In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to Lewis County IDA Board of Directors.
Moved by Tom, second by Ron. Discussion. In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Is that,
Transfer funds, information.
Second.
I'm sorry, does that fill Craig's position that we just did?
Correct.
To transfer funds, information technology.
Moved by John, second by Dick. Further discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 235, I've made the correction in section 2 where it says section 4, that's been deleted. It's urging the governor to convene the New York State Legislature in a special session to address outstanding home rule matters.
Moved by Randy, second by Jerry. Do we need to do an amended?
No.
Okay. Discussion?
What are some of the matters that are outstanding? Did I miss it in here, or?
This is the assistant ADA that we can't hire because
Okay,
it's
thank you.
outside
Okay.
of the county.
Okay, I forgot that. Thank you.
Well, we did hire, but she can't, go to court. Go to court.
Dick, this resolution comes from NISAC. They're urging all members to, resolve to request the legislature come back to session. We weren't the only local matter that was left on.
But I thought that, we talked before, correct me if I'm wrong, did we get the indication it was gonna make it through?
Correct.
Okay.
They brought
But
nothing.
that indication was wrong, Jerry.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing MOU between county through the Office for Aging and Double Play Community Center.
Moved by Randy, second by John. Discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, public defender.
Moved by Tom, second by Ron. Discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between public health and the hospital medical consultant and director.
Moved by Ron, second by John. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between public health and Harrisville School and Camden School for preschool special education programs.
Moved by Andrea, second by Ron. Discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing Lewis County Department of Buildings and Grounds to enter into renewal agreement with the Venus Enterprises for plowing the roads at the tower sites.
Moved by Jerry, second by Randy. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing emergency communication system agreement between the county and firefighter departments and school and fire rescue squads.
Moved by Tom, second by Jerry. Discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing additional modification agreement between the county and Ladone and Associates.
Moved by Jerry, second by Greg. Discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorize purchasing of 2 VHF Atlas 4200 repeaters for the 911 paging system.
Moved by Jerry, second by Greg. Discussion?
That's just to fill everybody in, they're half price. We do not have spares for these, and when they go down, there's a long window where without them, so it's building back up for our system.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between Bark Peter Events LLC and Recreation Forestry and Parks.
Moved by Ron, second by Jerry. Discussion?
Where's Bark Eater Events LLC out?
I think Classic, maybe?
It
Classic.
starts there. Places like that.
Okay, thank you.
And they usually spend the night here and,
No, that's all, I just,
Okay.
that's fine.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Regarding seeker review of New York new trail to be added to the county ATV trail system, declaring no significant impact, the Mobus Woodlands Group, LLC.
Moved by Ron, second by Tom. Discussion?
Will this help us with some of our road opening issues and stuff?
Well, this is the seeker that's always done to open a road, Jack.
This section is for the, which will eventually connect Harrisville Rod and Gun Club all the way through to Belfort.
Okay.
But it's a one-step process that we'll actually use to, the second step will be New York State DEC allowing access through an easement they have under the Oswegatchie easement.
On their land.
Through a TRP. So by us having this, it's kind of pushed them to do that. So this is the first step.
So it could avoid some, or could make some of the road opening unnecessary then.
It'll give us legal access across an area that we don't have any
now.
connectors.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Just as a note, the FOIL report for opening the West Road last year has been completed and sent to the requester.
Okay.
To incorporate an addition of properties maintained by NWF Adirondacks into the trail system.
Moved by Ron, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution urging New York State Governor and Legislature to enact sales tax law reforms to keep pace with current consumer marketplaces and technology.
Moved by Randy, second by Jerry. Discussion?
How would this actually work? Do they, the state collects the money and then they know where the tax went and they disperse it? Same as what we're doing now. Just
Kind of what we're asking actually is that the state establish that internal structure of how the revenue would be passed through.
It's similar to what we're doing now then.
Similar, yeah. But this is in response to the new.
Well, businesses that have a location in the state, even if you buy something online, if they have a presence here, they have to pay sales tax. So I wouldn't think it would be too difficult to expand that current process to include those who don't have a presence in the state.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between DSS and Berkshire Farm Center and Services for Youth.
Moved by John, second by Tom. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Approving stipulation of settlement with Northbrook Lions Falls.
Moved by Jerry, second by Randy. Discussion?
This was positive, right, that we went for that assessor? It helped us settle this thing?
Well,
It's all right.
we shared an attorney. I'm not sure about who we must have used an assessor that, do you know, Patty?
Well, I believe we did pay an assessor. That's what I believe that $3,300 is for, that we
Okay.
paid an assessor, that we're sharing in that assessment.
My question is, did that process reduce the claim that they had against us, or was it about the same anyhow?
We remained higher.
We authorized Joan to settle this for more than what they
What they
settled for.
want. Okay.
More of a reduction than what they settled for.
Okay.
So
we came out okay then?
Yeah, better than we expected.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing the agreement between county and JCC to lease advertising space on a bus.
Moved by Ron, second by Tom. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Authorizing application to New York State DOT for approval to purchase a wheelchair van for the county.
Moved by Ron, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Youth Bureau.
Moved by John, second by Ron. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing increase to the 2018 resource allocation plan for the youth.
Moved by John, second by Ron. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
One late resolution, which did get approved through the Courts and Law Committee. It's to transfer funds, Sheriff's Department.
Moved by Jerry, second by Ron. Discussion.
It's bulletproof vest for the officers and part of the contract negotiations. We need Keaton replaced, I think, what time frame on it? 5 years. And anyways, with the negotiations, we need to add them.
Then we'll start rolling every 5.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That concludes resolutions.
Other business. The proclamation commending Frank Archer was presented to him on his day of retirement on 6/18. A good turnout. And,
Can we read that tonight, just so that those of us that went there?
do you have a copy with you, Sharon?
I do. Whereas Frank Archer commenced employment in Lewis County on March 7, 1988. Since his initial title of courthouse cleaner, Frank was promoted through the ranks, aptly assuming the title of supervisor of buildings and grounds on September 18, 2005, which expanded his supervisor responsibilities to encompass all county buildings. He capably applied his vast knowledge and experience to each and every task and exuded great pride in his work. Frank consistently and willingly rose to the challenges posed by his superiors while transitioning to accommodate new requirements and budget challenges, to assist with planning new buildings and upgrade projects and providing professional oversight through their completion. Several of these projects and accomplishments stand as a testament and underscore his work ethic and commitment for which he was mindful to create the most cost-efficient and effective outcome in the interest of taxpayers. Throughout his career, Frank gained the respect while also befriending many of his supervisory and county managers and legislators. Throughout a career that has spanned over 30 years, Frank Archer performed honorably, and we wish to recognize his knowledgeable leadership.
Thank you, Jerry. And now we need a motion to change the August 7th board meeting to 9 a.m. to accommodate the employee appreciation picnic at the fairgrounds. Take the motion, second by Tom. Any discussion?
Yeah, can someone explain the process to us?
I think if Brian were here for his HR report, he would have talked a little bit about that. In response to some of the employee surveys and in response to traditional turnout at the golf outing, it was thought that we could do something a little different this year. And so we decided a picnic with the legislators and then use that opportunity to do some employee appreciation at the same time. So we're going to be inviting the employees over for lunch and having them come through and grab some stuff.
It's going to be open to all the employees that work for the county?
Yes.
We did this a few years ago, right, Terry?
Yes.
We cooked at the
3 or 4 years ago. Yes.
I think it's a good idea. I just didn't know some of the backbone of it.
I'll volunteer to cook or help.
Yeah, I get it.
We need a good dishwasher. Thank you.
Just kidding. I'm bringing paper plates.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Motion to adjourn. Randy? Second by
Well, you
John.
never have to ask that one twice.
There you go.